Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com Analyze Your Trade, episode number 152 for March 9th, 2021. My name is David Kosmitter. I'm the creator of TimingResearch.com. And today I have arranged for Dean Jenkins and Eva Booth of FollowMeTrades.com. Dean, of course, has been on many episodes of the show and was my original co-creator of this Analyze Your Trade series, and Eva works with him on their trading room, and she's a first-time guest for us. So great to have both of them here. You should be seeing Dean's screen right now, and we're gonna talk about a bunch of stocks today. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to him.
All right. Hey, thanks, David. It's good to be back. Man, 152 episodes. Who would have thought when you and I were first brainstorming this and go, hey, look, here's an idea.
Yeah.
Try this. But it seems to be a pretty popular thing. So looks like it.
Yeah, it's going well.
Will continue. So yeah, I've been on more times than I can count. But it's always fun. I like to see the, I love analyzing charts, and I like to see the ideas that traders have and offer analysis. And as you said, so I run a service, FollowMeTrades.com, and I have a trading room. And Eva, you started out as a customer like 4 years ago, went through my training, and then, was a very bright pupil and a very good student. And she's become a very good trader and a very good chart analyst. And almost all the time when we pull up a chart, we're going to have the same conclusion. But who knows? We do occasionally disagree. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I invited her to come join. It's always fun to have more than one voice on a webinar like this. But I think if you're attending now and you haven't met Eva before, I think you're going to like her approach here. So before we look at the trades, we got a list here, and there's some interesting ones on here. We got 15 ideas to look at. I thought I'd look at the overall market. So I'm showing the S&P 500, the SPY ETF. And when I'm watching, we had a big day today, of course, everything was up. We've had this pullback for a couple of weeks now. It was all, kind of blamed on rising interest rates. I kind of question that myself. Rates were going up, but do you think people sold their Microsoft to go buy a 1.35 T-bill? I just think, the market's run up, it's tripled since the blow off at the beginning of the COVID era. I just think it might be time, right? Just a little pause here, right? And market valuations are super high. And even with all the good news about states opening and things opening and maybe the pandemics, we can see the end of the tunnel. Valuations don't really, they're at historic highs. So, a little dust off, in my opinion, probably a very normal part of the market cycle. And I'm observing on the S&P 500, after this big run up, right? Just using Dow theory, right? We got a low, lower high, low. And so far, a lower high, and we breached the 50-day moving average for a couple days. And that hasn't happened, since November. And, before that, you can see it's a very rare occurrence. So that can signal the beginning of a correction, right? We're down below the 50-day moving average. We're down below the Ichimoku cloud, one of the tools that I use. And so today's move up, did not put in any kind of new highs here on the S&P 500. I think this is the most important index to look at because the Dow is only 30, right? And the NASDAQ is important. They got lots of companies in there, but it's also sector focused to a larger degree than the S&P 500. So this is the broad market. And speaking of the NASDAQ, had a big day for sure, ended up almost 4% up. But look at this, where, in the context of a daily chart, this is even more pronounced than the S&P 500 with low, lower high, low, right? Got a long way to go, even down to the 200-day moving average. And I'm looking at, a Fibonacci retracement zone. The middle of it would take us down to here. So I'm not convinced that this move down is over yet, but I'll trade, the market, whichever way it's going. I'll take longs, I'll take shorts, but I'm watching for perhaps a continuation, a larger correction coming. So that's kind of my backdrop on the market. So what we're going to do is we got this list of ideas that were submitted by all the people who registered here. And so we're going to go through these. I'm going to have Eva share her screen. She'll bring up the chart, and then she and I will both offer commentary on it. Who knows? It could be fun. So Eva.
So it took me 152 episodes to appear.
Yeah.
Better late than never, right?
You're here.
Yes, I'm
All
here.
right.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so let's start. The first one on the list was Walmart, which is one that a lot of people would like to look at. I want to squish up the screen here a little bit because you can see nice long trend here. This was 3. This is 4 right now. Now let me stretch it out so you can see it better. And is this the floor? Is this the support? And we're going to start a wave 5. If wave 5 starting, it's got a great target up here to 182, 217. That's the range. Problem is, as Dean was saying, just simple Dow theory, you want a higher high, higher low, higher high. We don't have it yet. So it's not ready. The setup's not there. It's orderly. We have 3, wave 3, wave 4. Just need wave 5 to prove itself. Now, Dean, agree or disagree?
So I agree that the wave 5 has not proven itself. You know, one price bar, one candle does not a trend make. So they were up today, right? But they are in, you know, it's still in this correction, and it actually could go deeper down into the. If you can see Eva's chart, those 2 blue lines, that's the Fibonacci retracement zone. So her extensions, which are those upper lines, are if wave 5 starts now. That's a big if, right? It could continue down into that correction zone. It's consolidating. So for me, there's no trade on Walmart, right? It's either going to go lower or go higher. I guarantee you 100% it's going to go lower or higher from here.
Exactly.
And we don't know which way. So for me, there's no trade. If you get the high, higher, low, new high, right? And maybe if it gets above that 200-day moving average, which on Eva's charts, that bolder white line, then there could be a long, and you don't have to rush it, right? You could wait, and then the target's amazing. So for me, no trade. It's a neutral at this time.
All right. So here's the line Dean was discussing around 139. Now, something I always point out, which causes resistance, just a little something while I was drawing that line, it gapped down at this point. Gaps act as really strong support or resistant area. So this, even if it starts up, it might have a hard time getting up to these prior highs. So
I think that was when they announced earnings, right? Wasn't the
Yep.
market wasn't impressed, right? That's when it gapped down.
Mm-hmm. I think you are correct. All right, let's move on to the next one. ALDX. I don't have all of these drawn, so some of these are, some will be because we've looked at them in the trading room. And so I happen to have this one. So 3, with the really nice move here recently. The problem is it's not channeling. So is this a shallow 4? It needs to get at least to this line here at the 1165, which it has, but it did not get up to the shallow line or a new high for a wave 5. So this is a very complex wave 4, and it's channeling. It's come back to the bottom, went up through the 50, had a great day today at 9%, but will it go much further than the top of the channel? I can't say, but this is still in a complex 4.
And I can't add anything to that. I think you're spot on. Right?
Okay.
And but on a chart like this, given the percent moves, you could trade that channel, right? You can see real clearly, he was pointed it out, right? The high and the low on the channel, right? You could trade it from here. If I were to try and do that, I might go on a 30-minute or 60-minute chart and just try to trade those pivots. Percent wise, you could probably get a good move. But you just got to be aware you got those, really, really strong resistance at those prior highs. So you would, if your target's up there and you expect that reversal, you might be able to get a shorter term, just a channel swing on this thing there.
Yes. And if you see it break through the bottom of the channel and you're taking it long, that could be a decent stop for you at the bottom of the channel, because it has not been going through that. So if it breaks through, it may have some room to go. All right, next one on the list, Apple.
What a shock.
Yeah.
We're having a webinar and people want to look at Apple.
So similar, Apple, here was 3, it retraced, it had a shallow 4. Then it was somewhat complex. This is a shallow 5. I think this is an ABC correction, because after a 5-wave, you have a complex correction of an ABC. I think we're in the C. It may have a little bit to go because the C leg is bigger than the A, but I don't think this is ready to take long at all yet, because you have a low, lower high, lower low. So everything says this is currently still in a downward trend.
I agree with that. And, look how it found support yesterday on the 200-day moving average. And then it had a big update today. One price bar is not a trend. So, yeah, I think there's better things to trade. And, if it were to break down through the 200-day moving average, it could go complete a full 4. But, there's a couple axioms in trading, right? A lot of people you'll hear, I say this tongue in cheek, right? Don't short the mouse, right? Don't short Disney, right? And Apple's one like that. You got to be real, you can make money, but if I'm going short, there might be better things, because there's Apple's a stock, it's a company, it's also a cult. So you got to be a little bit careful. So I'm not that excited about trading Apple, and it's a confusing chart at the moment.
Do you want to comment on the 2? There's a couple comments in the chat, Dean. Would you like to comment on those about Apple?
Michael's saying, can you count the internals for Apple? And he's saying this move is better counted as a wave 5 down. Maybe on a shorter time frame, I can see, even if you just mouse over that all-time high up there, right? On a shorter time frame, that looks like a 3, 4, 5 down, perhaps, right? But on this daily chart, I think Eva's spot on, right?
Or if you're looking for a wave within a wave, maybe this is, maybe this is 3, 4, 5. That's, I think, still too much of retracement for a smaller wave.
Yeah.
So, it's a wave 5 decline, he's saying. Oh, so he's looking just at this last. Okay, let's see. If we want to take a very small move, let's see. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. For all waves should be able to be broken down within the waves. So, but again, if it's a wave 5, you've already hit the target. So, and that would make, A, B, C, so maybe we're slowly starting a new trend. Maybe it's not. And they're saying it's A of the larger ABC, which, yes, that could easily be also. That's why the complex corrections are the hardest ones to define, because you kind of have to watch them develop to make sure what you're in. But yes, this could easily be an A down, which then we're going to get a B up with a big C down. C is going to be the largest move of the 3. Any other thoughts, Dean?
No. And for like I said, for me, there's not really a trade here on Apple at this time.
A second, let's look and see if there was any other comments. That would be my take as well. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. AMD. So on this one, I also feel it is in a complex correction at this point. Let me squish this up so you can see more. So 3, 4, 5, shallow 5, but this could be the ABC correction at this point. I don't see a trade yet, and it came down. I had drawn this because we had looked at this in the trading room and before it hit this point, I said this is going to be a strong area of support. You've got the gap. It touched this line once, twice, 3 times, came down, found support, reversed off of it. So this could, part of the problem with these complex, this could be a continuation of 4, and we might not have even seen 5 yet. I'm saying it could have been a shallow 5, or this could still be all part of the complex 4. So
And that's one of our, one of our rules, is when you get something like this and you got, 2 or 3 or 4 competing theories and wave counts, we typically move on to something else that's, super clear, right? And this one just, right, look at the channel that AMD is in, and as Eva pointed out, that incredible support, basically at 4 different points now. So you could take it long. It's a little early to call along up to the top of that channel, but I like impulsive waves rather than channels myself. But I certainly wouldn't go short above that support line. That's for sure.
okay, so on to the next one. PFE. I don't think we've looked at this one. Oh, I don't have drawings on this yet. So the best thing to do first is try to get a big picture. Came all the way down, came all the way up. This is 3. I'm not 100% sure if it retraced too much. And I have found out if I try to assume, it's usually, and this one did not. So it was a deep 4, but it came down, it found support. Let's see, this support actually looks pretty interesting because this is a strong area of support for it. It came down to where, the last attempt to go up, pulled back to about here, up, pulled back. Now it's starting back up again. So 3, 4. Let's look at our 5 with our extensions. So basically back to the prior high. And you've got one big price bar. It pulled back a little bit. You're coming to the 50 and the 200. Really strong resistance there. So probably you'd want to make sure it had momentum to get up through there. It's wicked close to the same point 3 times. So just want to get out of this little bit of a wedge it's forming. Once it pulls out, you'll either have energy to the upside or the downside. But this looks, like it is setting up to the long side. It's just not quite there yet. Patience. That's what we always say. Wait for the trade to set up.
I agree. Got nothing to add to that.
I'm being quite wordy. You could also look at this as, maybe this is 1, 2, maybe this is 3 down. If it breaks through, I keep talking here, so I guess I had more to add. If it breaks through this line here, which it came close to, it invalidates the wave count, and then this becomes the impulsive move. At that point, this would be a downward trend. This would be 3, then up 4, down 5. So that's a possibility also. How this progresses from here will really determine which wave count it's in. Okay, next one, NVIDIA. So it was complex, but this one looks like, because it's had such a breakdown. Let's squish this up. All right, so 3, very complex. 4, started up, had a new high. Because it has a new high, it broke out of this channel, thought it was. I think this was a completed 5, and this is the complex correction at this point. So it came pretty much straight down, so that's probably A. Looking for a B up, C down.
And that high that, you know, so your analysis is equally plausible with another one, which would be that high was the finish of 3, and now we're in 4. And 4 is going to be 4 is typically an ABC, so it's the same thing, right? Either way.
Okay, let me draw that in case it's, get rid of some of these lines.
I would
If
not
that,
go long on NVIDIA, even though they had a big day. One price bar, right? They broke the 200, right? Momentum's to the downside, right? I would be looking for a short.
so this is a little bit off. There. Okay, so from Dean's thought that if this ends up being 3, which it could be, 4, it's, you know, orderly, came right down, starting 5. So with that, you know, you can have a nice target up here, which would be great, because then you would, once you get the high, higher low, higher high, could set your stop, your entry, and your target, and could determine the risk reward. So I like that approach too. It's always good to get different ways of looking at a chart. AZN. All right.
Yikes.
I know I want to squish this up because I think it was more orderly. So 3, 4, 5. Then then it started down. So not a real clear ABC on this. Just trying to see if you look at the chart, if you can find anything. Can't even find support. You know, it's in a correction. It's still in a downward trend. You can easily see the trend line is down here. So, yeah.
I think that's all you can say in terms of trying to find a wave count. You know, Eva and I use primarily Elliott wave and Dow theory and a few other tools here, but you know, I don't think you can find a wave count on this particular chart. It's pretty messy. It's pretty volatile. Like Eva said, it's in this sloping down channel. That's the, you know, that's what you can say. It's in a sloping down channel.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe this was a target, you know, so maybe, you know, this could just be somewhat of a new trend too. So, yeah, you got to kind of just wait and see. You know, maybe this was 5 and this is like ABC there, and it's starting over again. Got to wait to see if there is a trend that starts in a nice orderly way where you can make some predictions from it. LMND.
And on the AZN chart, you know, it's a good point that you know, I mentioned earlier. You know, we look for super clear setups, high probability, got an edge on the trade, right? For me, AZN, it's not there, right? I see this, and in about 2 seconds, I'm gone, right? There, you know, there may be day trading or other techniques, but I make it a point not to fixate on a particular stock or company, right? I go look for super clear, high probability patterns. That's what I want, and this one ain't that for me.
Yeah, we're probably spending more time on these than we normally would, just because they were requested and we're trying to give some insight on them. but
Right.
you could hear Dean go, oh, so you could tell, okay, we're going to pass that one. There's better charts out there to analyze. All right, this looks like a rocket ship. Went up, came down. You can see that. I'm going to just point out, and oh, it came right down to it. All right, see, that's why it's good to draw your chart. So 3, it did not invalidate it. It came right down to the line and reversed off of it. So from a wave count perspective, we would be
And
looking.
that red line that he was talking about for invalidating, we're using, our simple Elliott wave approach, and that red line is a 76.4 Fibonacci retracement. If it goes beyond that, it's not a retracement, it's a new impulsive move, and that's what she's referred to a couple times. But this one stopped right there.
Yeah, so that's why it's good not to make assumptions, and if you want to know, sit and spend the time drawing out the Fibonacci retracement. So 3, 4, it has a target for wave 5 up here. Again, one price bar does not make the start of a wave. This could come back down and invalidate it. But right now it's still there. And whether or not it's starting wave 5, you got to wait and see if you get the high, higher, low, higher, high, kind of the stair step move. But it has potential. But this is a rocket ship like many of the other ones we've seen lately, like Rocket. Trying to think what else. Bed Bath and Beyond. A lot of the Reddit crowd. Oh, that one's not so much. GameStop.
Yeah, of course, GameStop and BlackBerry and AMC.
So
So we're halfway through. We did Lemonade. That was number 8. Why don't we take an intermission and show? I don't think we've enthusiastically said, "Oh my goodness, here's an awesome trade." So why don't we show a couple of our watch lists that we do think are awesome, Eva?
Okay, let's start with U.S. Steel. And I have to say, today's move, we were hesitant on this because it was channeling. You can see, the complex 4. It has broken out of that. It's broken above the cloud. A lot of the resistance is gone. It has a great target up here, even if sometimes the prior high ends up being a very strong resistance area and will reverse off of that. So even it's got a nice move even to its prior high. So that may be setting up really nice.
And this is a great example because both of us have talked about, like on Lemonade, hey, one price bar doesn't a trend make. And if you look at the price action here on US Steel, right, off the bottom of this correction, look at that high, higher, low, new high. That's the pattern we like to see. That is super strong evidence of a wave beginning, and it's got an awesome target. So, and it's, trades at great volume, great option market. So this is a exciting trade. We like this one.
Okay. Next one we're looking at was FedEx. This hasn't gotten out of its channel yet, even with a nice day today. So not quite ready. Because we've got our high, higher low. We're looking for a higher high. That's what this yellow line's waiting for it to cross over that yellow line. Close, but not there yet. But I will show everyone. Let me squish it down. Once it gets through, nice target. It's orderly, even though it's had a complex 4. If you look at a lot of stocks lately, they've had this very complex 4. So you could develop a really nice risk to reward with a stop, entry, and target. Ready to move on to the next one, Dean?
Let's look at MJ for fun. And
Okay.
We'll back to the list because this is on our watch list.
This
2
one.
price bars, right? 2 price bars, but boy, it's getting close.
What we liked about this one is, even though it was like that last one we looked at, LMND, where it's kind of like a rocket up, it's come down, it found support on the 50 and reversed off of that. even when it wicked below it, the same day it pulled up above. So the 50 is a very strong support. We're just waiting for the nice setup to get in. It's getting closer.
Getting closer.
Oh, and
And
MJ's on our list, by the way. It's number 13.
oh, look at that. And you know, it kind of in parallel with MJ is Sundial, individual cannabis stock. Looks very similar, and the percent gain on the potential percent gain on this one is like a double your money thing. So it's pretty cool. We're watching.
And this one, from reading the chart, it went up and it came back so much that it invalidated. So this becomes the impulsive wave. And that's why you're seeing it. So 3, looking for retracement. Wave 4 up into this area. And then the probable move after that would be a wave 5 down. Let's look at one more from ours, since we did one more from the request. Oh, look, another one, CRISPR. Looked great, found support right on the 200, like that. It's orderly, one price bar. We still have to be patient waiting.
But we're watching that close. That one could have huge potential. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, today's candle was up 9.29%. That's a nice move. All right, let's get back. The next one, PTC. This is orderly. Let's get our wave count in. So 3. This, we had a low, lower high, lower low. So this is sufficient for a shallow 4. And like the ones we're watching on our watch list, this has had a nice move up today. So it could be setting up the wave 5. And it's got a great target up here. Only problem, I mean, it's a really nice chart, very orderly. The only problem right now is it's only got one candle up. Gotta wait for more validation. I guess you're in agreement, Dean.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. I don't think we've looked at PTC. Don't know what it is, but totally agree with your analysis.
All right, next one, GNW. I think that's Genworth, which it is. Okay, a little messier here. There was a gap here. We can ignore it because it was filled, so that's good. Problem is, I don't know. Let's see if we can make heads or tail out of this. Not the prettiest chart, so retraces completely. I want to see, I guess what we need to do is see if this gap down was too much and invalidated. Which it did. It's just too messy. It does look like, interesting enough, this looks like a giant wedge, like really big wedge. I can't do a wave count on this. I don't know if you see anything I'm not seeing, Dean, but
No, and I mean, that's you know, it's obviously a volatile stock driven by news and emotion. You know, a huge gap, and then these run ups, and then another gap. What's interesting is, for all that volatility over the last year and a half, look how all of a sudden it got super tight. So if you really felt like you had to trade this thing, look for a break out of that, the current consolidation, and it probably would have some momentum, short term, but it's not the setup that I like. But it sure has calmed down, that's for sure.
I think though, you've got a low, lower high, and if it shows signs of having a lower low, this is definitely in a downward trend. It's still in a downward trend to me at this point. All right. NVAX. NVAX. Novavax. All right, so another one that's been trending up and made a big, very large retracement. Okay, so this is our 3. Four, it did not invalidate, it did not go below. It is consolidating here. Is this where it's finding support? Let's see. We draw that line. It corresponds with this candle. I don't know if that helps give support to it. I'm just looking for anything in this chart. But if it is starting a wave 5, the prior high would be the target. So, it's consolidating, forming somewhat of a wedge here. If it breaks out to the upside, and you can establish good risk to reward, you'd have a target up to the prior high. But again, nothing quite there. It isn't setting up yet. Okay, Amazon. So with Amazon, squish this up. I had a big long 3. We're in that complex 4. It came down, found support right here at its prior, so it's channeling. You have an upward part of the channel, roughly that area, even though it went a little short this time, but it's definitely channeling. This could be 4. 4 could come down further, or if it turns, then this could be a shallow 4, and I have to squish this up. If that ends up being a shallow complex 4, you're looking at extensions, a nice run to a new high. But we got a lot of resistance that's got to get through. You've got the 200, the cloud, the 50, and then these prior highs. But break out of that, you might have a nice run.
And I'm looking at that break of the 200-day moving average. That hasn't happened since last March, right? That's kind of a big deal. I would be more biased to the downside and down to the middle of that correction zone. I would wait to see if it reverses off the 200, because support becomes resistance, and if it takes out that low, I think you got a pretty high probability to run down into the correction zone, the middle of that. That's my thought on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good observation, because things that have been, when it's respected the 200 here. It even just broke down a little bit and reversed. If it reverses, goes up above, then it would be a repeat of this. If it doesn't and it breaks down, Dean's right. That could be a whole new setup to the short side.
And it's funny, I was following stories on earnings on some companies. Amazon's obviously done very, very well through the pandemic, right? And there's a lot of that built into the current price. I think it was Dick's announced either after the close yesterday or pre-market. They nailed it all, right? They beat on earnings. They beat on revenue. They had a forecast above the analysts, and they raised their dividend, and they got crushed. Right? Because it's just the growth and the good news for some of these companies that benefited during COVID. It's going to run out of steam, and that could be the story for Amazon.
I'm trying to think. Is Dick's DKS? I can't remember. Yes.
Yeah.
So was this yesterday? Well, when was the
today, so they announced either last night or this morning, you see they're down. The market was up, right? The NASDAQ was up 4%, right? And DIX was down.
6.34%. So,
Poor Stitch Fix. So
oh,
DIX came in with good numbers, right? Stitch Fix did not, and they got punished, right?
what is theirs? SCH maybe? Oh, I can't remember it.
I'll find it. I had it here. Stitch.
Because I think that was down like 26, 27%.
SFIX.
Yeah.
Sam
Well, that
Frank.
would have been easy. Stitch Fix.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They did
Ooh.
not come in with good numbers.
So this is interesting. Before I was telling you gaps often are support and resistance areas. And look, it came down to the gap and found support. So who knows if it'll start reversing off of this, but yeah, on a day where the market was up as big as this, being down 28.6% is not good.
I was reading, the report on them, and they got an interesting model, right? Stitch Fix is this they're a clothing company who, it's your personal wardrobe designer. You do it online and they ship you clothes. And then you look at the clothes they shipped you and you decide what you're going to keep. And then you ship back the stuff you don't want. You only get charged for the stuff you keep. They don't recognize revenue until that whole cycle is over. And there's a ton of cost, right? In the inventory they ship out, the shipping costs, all that stuff. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That was part of the reason why they got hit so hard, was because of the delay in their holiday sales because of the slow returns with all the shipping issues going on right now in the United States and the delay in shipments.
Right.
That's one of the things that hit them hard. At least what I heard. I was out in the car listening to market news. All right, so the next one, HTBX. Another rocket ship that came down, up and down. So this is a new trend, obviously. Or actually, what it is. Nope, it invalidated. Sorry, I thought this was going to be 3-4, but it invalidated. So,
and they got it. The cloud's kind of covering it up there, but there's that huge gap, and it's right up against it.
Right there. So, not a lot, from counting waves that you can say. You just have to start looking at things. When wave counts don't work, you start looking for other, you just try to read the chart. This appears to be a pretty strong floor. It was one, it came up, came down to this spot, went up, came down, up. So it may come down to this floor again. It did fill this gap, so I don't know if we have to be as concerned about that. You've got, if it does start going, you have a couple areas. This is 1, 2, wicked almost up to that. This seems like a very strong, and the bottom of the cloud, so that might be strong resistance. I'm not sure what they do, but extremely volatile and can't really create a wave count. So all you can do is look for floors and possible resistance and support.
I think they do something with heat and biology.
That's a good guess. MRK.
Well, we know what Merck does.
Right? Yeah. Yes, we do. That's one we do know. So
your size says it all. You just had a big.
I know. I'm like giant channel is all I can tell you at this point. It appears to be in a downward trend.
It just broke that channel to the downside, by the way.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty strong to the downside. Yeah, so I mean, can we figure out even a wave count to the short side?
No, unless, well, no, there's no wave count. Maybe on a 30, 60-minute chart that moved down over the lot, this year could be a 3 down.
Here's 60, see if it. But when you look at it there, you've got the gap right here, and it's showing strong support. So that one's tough.
Yeah.
Not a lot you can say, except it broke out of its channel to the downside. So I wouldn't be taking this long at the moment because it broke its support. All right, that was all of them, but we have someone wants, we can look at the request from Theo. WKHS. Well, this had a bad day. Look at that candle. Woo. So 3, it's a really good chance, but I will double check. It wicked. You could argue that it stayed in. High, but this one too. This was a new low, this wick. It's not starting anything really because you have a low and then a couple candles. So this could still be trending. Definitely could still be trending to the downside. Because it did recently make a new low. It's consolidating. It hasn't had momentum to get up above the 200, so it just doesn't have the strength. And that's really all I can say on that one.
I think that's as much as there is to say. It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
I don't hear you scribbling on your steno pad. Gotta take this in the morning, right?
I'm excited. I think Snap looks better. Oh, ooh, good. Thank you. Easier. 3, 4. The only problem is one up day. It's up from its lows. Needs to get up through the 50. But let's say it gets up through the 50 and breaks through and we get a new high. That could be a nice setup. I don't have the extensions. Let's get those on. Yeah, anywhere from the prior high. You can get up here to the retracement. All right, so PLL. This is probably still in wave 3, but I could have been. That's sufficient for 4. 3, 4. You don't have a lot of history came up. This is lithium. I think I just heard about this Piedmont. I was hearing the CO interviewed today. They are moving the plant to North Carolina. They're going to be mining lithium for the first time in North Carolina, and also they won't be shipping the raw materials, which have been in the past, to China. They're going to do all the development in North Carolina to try to create a cleaner situation. So 3, 4, and I think that's what's caused all this buzz on it. They used to be strictly mining in Australia, and I learned that 50% of lithium comes from Australia. That was a new fact I didn't know. So 3, 4, has a target up, really nice target. Again, it's moved pretty fast. Like today's candle's 21%. So these candles are very large percentages. So it's tough to get that higher low, higher high when you're moving 20% at a time. But if we're just looking at a simple charting, this would be what PLL looks like. PHM.
That could be an exciting one, that PLO.
Yeah, I mean, the whole background is very interesting too. So complex, channels drawn, 3, complex 4. This is not breaking out of the channel. If it breaks out, you've got a nice target up here, but it's not breaking out. It looks like the channel's narrowing, so it could be getting ready to break out, but nothing yet.
Definitely wait, because look, that's how many times does it hit that high, right? 3 times. It's a Kenny Rogers chart, right? Once, twice,
Yes.
3 times.
I'm not singing. No one wants to hear my voice. So we've gotten through, I was going to pass it off, but I'll give Theo, this is funny. I was showing Dean this earlier today, this morning. Neo does have, 3. This could have been, 3, could have been 4 complex ABC, or this was all a complex 4 and this could have been, sorry, the whole thing there could have been 3. This could have been moved down 4. And let's get the extension for 5. Found support close to the 200. So there's no guarantee it will go higher, but it could. If this is 3, this was 4, and this continues up, it had an 18% day. I think the EV cars were doing really well today. Yeah, it does have good potential to head up if that truly is wave 5 starting. All right, Dean, I'm going to pass it off to you. It was fun spending the last hour with everyone.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun having you here, Eva. It's fun to talk back and forth and share ideas, and yeah, very, very cool. So we got through the list, gave our opinion. Some we gave some, hey, if this happens, this could be a good one. We gave some of our favorite ideas at the moment. If you like what you are seeing, you can. You have to stop sharing, Eva, before I can.
Oh, I apologize. I
can't
forgot.
take it since I'm not the moderator here.
Forgot.
In our trading room, I can snatch it away anytime I want, right? So, hey, if you're interested in following along, joining our trading room, following the picks that I publish to my subscribers, special offer for today's attendees. You can try my service for $37 for a 30-day trial. Check it out, see if it's a good fit for you. Most people stay, like it. If it's not a good fit, no hard feelings. Money back guarantee. So there's a link that I've posted in the chat for you. So yeah, I'd love to have you join if you thought this made sense. Well, David, thanks again for inviting me back and for opening the door for Eva. I think that was good having her here. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Great episode. Lots of good information. So just a quick reminder for everyone, be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. Or you can also go to TimingResearch.com to get access to the archive of this show as soon as I can get it posted, or any of the past episodes. Yeah, just want to thank Dean Jenkins and Eva Booth of FollowMeTrades.com for being here, and hope to have you back soon. Thanks, everyone.